Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar, and ladies and gentlemen, I got some late night thoughts. You ever try to fall asleep and insomnia kind of flashbangs you, and you're just completely awake? Well, that's where we're at. Thank God, no sleep paralysis. Now, I wanted to kind of talk about some stuff here. I just wanted to like kind of talk with the community, if you will, talk with the people watching. I usually hate these kind of videos because, generally speaking, I should just upload and move on and sort of like do my stuff. But I was watching some older videos of mine, and to be fair with you, it's sometimes ideal to just kind of course correct a little bit. Now, one thing I want to start off by saying is, people on the internet have burnout. And to an extent, I would say that there is some level of burnout that occurs. And it's not just because, like, I upload, videos around daily. Something that, I've kind of been doing, and I'm sure some people have noted for like the last like couple like years, is that obviously the content that I've made is not so much diversified. I was watching videos from like 2019, 2020, and some of them were wild. Okay, you got videos as old as Weeaboo's Screamer Cringe, where like the Mudo laugh meme came out of. And then I was watching videos where apparently like I was playing like obscure Japanese PS2 games about bomb defusals. And one of the reasons why I'm making this video is my internet just died. Like I think some drunk asshole ran into like a data center and completely destroyed the internet, okay? Like I am loading pictures slower than the AOL dial-up days, which by the way is dying. So the thing about it is I played, an old PS2 game. I played some Grand Theft Auto, like obscure Brazilian trash on the PS2, and I had a pretty good damn time doing it. Now the thing about like YouTube is one of the things that I kind of have noticed that I've done for the last 12, I would say 24 months even, right? Is I've kind of went into this almost late stage capitalist mindset. One of the things is obviously I would say that I cover a lot of trending stuff. And in some cases, I definitely have probably fell into like the over coverage of like, internet dramas, things of that nature. And, I'm not going to just say that I wouldn't want to cover something that I'm interested in because generally, if I'm interested in something, I'm going to talk about it, as is what the point of a YouTube channel is. But watching a lot of the older stuff that I did, where I was like, hunting for Bigfoot and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, not even just like the deep web, like the deep web stuff is cool, but I was watching like older haunted gaming, like creepypasta videos and everything too. And it's funny, watching old creepypasta videos, it's like, most of it was just, I would get home, I would sit in front of like the creepypasta wiki, I'd find me something that was absolutely juicy, read through it, do a little analysis, and then just kind of upload it. I wouldn't say that any video that I've uploaded is like a technical masterpiece. It really is just like me putting together something that I find interesting and uploading it. And I feel like 2019, 2020, 2021 was probably like the best gosh darn era that I've actually enjoyed on the internet. I think that was when I was like most diverse. And one of those things is obviously I think I should probably just go back to it. Now, one of the reasons why, like, I make this video is that obviously there's a lot of people that say, I wish you talked about creepypastas. I wish you uploaded this. And generally, whenever I do upload that kind of stuff, the videos tend to absolutely tank in terms of performance. And that's not something that's like super duper shocking to me. It's just par for the course, right? Generally, people love the trending stuff. People like, any internet controversy discussion a lot more than, the traditional standard stuff. That's just how the internet tends to work in that space. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, shifting the shift of all my content to that was ever a good idea. And that's just one of the things where, like, ultimately, I want to kind of ask you guys, what really is it that you guys want to watch from, like, that 2019, 2020, 2021 era? One of the things that, I kind of have fallen into, and I think most creators can agree with this, I've actually talked to a couple creators like this. There's a mentality that happens to you when, you make YouTube videos and you kind of run into this, like, snowball effect where, when one video style does really well, you tend to do more of it because that's really what YouTube, as a platform, algorithmically, systemically actually rewards you for. But that's the problem. You fall into the algorithm rot, and that's just you basically putting yourself into a corner. And that's one of the things that I've never really considered myself in. I've always considered myself to be like, generally somebody that uploads a pretty diverse range of stuff. Back then it was like, You know, you talk about a creepypasta, or you play fucking Revenge of the Sunfish or some crazy weird video game. And generally speaking, it's like I was never like the most, I would say, like viewed person, but it was like, you know, everything that I would just kind of post would generally appeal to this, you know, fan base that I would have. And I feel like, you know, in the last like what, 12, 24 months, I've kind of just alienated myself away from that. Now I've been on like old Discord communities and fan communities of mine, just kind of talking to like older fans. And, you know, I've really come to this just realization that, you know, at this point I have to stop jumping into this like YouTube, you know, avalanche of like, you know, algorithm seeking nonsense. Okay. I should just go back to what it is that I've done, regardless of what it does to my channel or whatever going forward. The reality of this is this is not coming from a place of me wanting to go back to an older channel just out of nowhere. A lot of this comes from, you know, just me being upfront with you guys. I don't think I have much more time left in me. And I'm not saying that like I'm dead or something. It's just that for the last like couple of years, I really have just been thinking of retiring. Like I really have just been thinking of like getting out of this and sort of like doing something else with life. And sometimes life brings in a lot of beautiful things that sort of take you away from the hobbies that you have. And I'll let you interpret what that means. But the idea is that, you know, my life is heading to a place where I'm getting older. I got to be focusing more on things like family or something of that nature. So realistically, I don't really think that I have more than like a year, maybe 2 years of kind of making like, you know, the daily style of videos. That doesn't mean that I'll always like go away. Like I think I'll always just kind of upload here and there. It's just, you know, there's going to be a point where, you know, I just do not post, you know, multiple times a week. You know, it's going to be a point where I'm going to post maybe once a week or maybe once a month. And it's sometimes maybe even less than that, simply because like life takes you in a different sort of spot. But I feel like before that time comes, I kind of do want to just go back to like a 2019, 2020, 2021 era Mudahar. I want to just kind of like upload goofy, what the fuck gaming style videos where I just play the most obscure shit for my channel. You know, one of the things that I really loved watching was like me when I had insomnia. I woke up at like 3 in the morning and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help people relive PlayStation 2 Grand Theft Auto San Andreas like Bigfoot hunting. And I did that. And I had probably some of the most fun during that video. Now the thing is, obviously going back to that style of content that doesn't, you know, typically rely on trending stuff. Obviously, I'm going to just say it right now, going into the future, I don't think I'm going to perform as well, at least like channel metric wise. And one of those things is obviously it's completely okay. I know that's like outlandish. Like, you know, a creator should probably think of like constantly upping and upping and upping and upping and upping the numbers until like it reaches an unhealthy degree. And that is what it is. It's just unhealthy. You know, this is not like a capitalist situation where like, you know, if you're pulling in, you know, like a million views one year, you should go to 2 million the next year, and then 4, and then 8, and then, you know, 16, and then 32. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you just fall into this like psychotic like rut where ultimately your content suffers, you suffer, and ultimately, I would say everything just suffers at that point. So realistically, for me, I want to just kind of go back to, you know, a lot of that like even before 2020, to be honest, like 2017, 2018, I think that was like a peak era. And I should just go back to playing like a lot of older like creepypasta games. I should go back to a lot of like deep web stuff. Not even just deep web stuff, to be honest. Like deep web stuff is like I've seen so many goddamn websites at this point that to be real with you, I could not do it almost every week. Maybe like every 2 weeks, simply due to the fact that there is just so much of the same hitman, you know, website. But I've generally like gotten a lot of love for like creepypasta stuff recently. And I never thought I'd be saying that. I've really actually fallen back into creepypasta love. And I've been actually on the creepypasta wiki. I've been like reading spooky stories. I've been on the spookier side of like 4chan paranormal again. And I really feel like looking back, some of the videos that I made, the ones that just randomly banged, looking at like weird, creepy 4chan threads, or like, you know, talking about like that one obscure video game creepypasta, or sometimes looking at like that one creepy YouTube channel. you know, or the YouTube ARG. That's just really where I should be focusing my attention and my time into. I feel like I've dipped my toe too much into like the trending, almost like drama content pond, where I've really just suffered in the long run for it, right? Like, I think like the last 24 months, I've probably suffered the most in terms of just like the quality of the video that I've been making about it too, right? Like I don't want to say that I've just been like slop tubing it. You know, I've always been like a daily uploader. If you think that my old videos from like 8, 9 years ago were not just slop, you'd be fucking surprised, okay? Playing some dog shit, stupid PS2 game probably falls into that same category if people are being charitable. But at least back then, I feel like I was really carving out like the weird side of the internet that nobody was uploading and just enjoying my time there. You know, one of the things that I want to do is just kind of go back to that. And again, like I said, I hate making these kind of videos, but one of the reasons that I wanted to make this video is to get my thoughts out, to sort of talk a little bit to the community about it. But also, I do want to ask you guys, like, what specifically from that old era do you guys really genuinely want to see? And I don't want to just hear like deep web browsing or something of that nature, right? It's like there's got to be some stuff, you know, from like the haunted gaming era. My neighbor finally fell asleep. The haunted gaming era, or like that just weird side of like the PS2 games that I ended up playing, or just like weird games in general, right? Like, I legitimately laughed out loud the other night. I was watching myself playing Sonic, like it was a Sonic Dreams collection. I was watching myself impregnate Sonic on video. I actually fucking laughed at it like an actual hyena. And I feel like, you know, that's just where I want to be at. Even reading the comments from like videos like that, I feel like there was just a genuine amount of good positivity I was putting in there, as opposed to, you know, just yapping about the daily stuff that I have an interest in. Obviously, that's why I upload it. But I really just feel like, you know, at the end of the day, if that's where I'm going at, if that's the route that I'm going down, I should probably stop right now. Because ultimately I don't want to just be like the daily like news yapper guy. I don't want to be like the daily, you know, Asmongold, Charlie. No disrespect to any of those guys, but that never was me, and I don't think that should be me. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about this. I'm rambling on a bit, but ultimately I have to do something because insomnia is a bitch. Sleep paralysis is an absolute bitch. But I wanted to talk about this because, again, it's something in my head. I wanted to discuss stuff. And again, I just recorded me playing a goofy PlayStation 2 game. And it was probably some of the most fun that I've ever had. Obviously, going forward, going back to that classic style of content and not relying on, like, you know, trends or doing that kind of stuff is ultimately a net negative to the channel. But given, I mean, net negative in terms of the, I guess you could say, metrics, right? And, you know, YouTube just shouldn't be metrics. Like, at the end of the day, this is not, you know, what I do. This is something that obviously I have to be retiring from at some point, and I got to be focusing on other ventures. But I think from now to the time we get to that stage, probably should go back to a time when, you know, I was some ordinary gamers, not, you know, off brand version of whatever talking head you see on the internet these days. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Obviously, I will still be deep diving into things. I think that part is still, like, that stuff I still want to do. Um, but I just want to ask you, what do you guys want to particularly see? And especially if there's any specific like topic, especially in that horror space, if you guys want to see, absolutely would like to cover things like that again. And ultimately, I just want to ask you what you want to see, because, you know, if I'm going to upload something, I at least want to upload, you know, something that the community wants to see, not just, you know, because ultimately it's like a fucking team effort here. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we have to be able to communicate and meet in the middle in that regard. But yeah, this is just me yapping. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I can pass out. Hopefully I can go to bed. I am out.